Hello, Scott. Good evening.
Hey, Greg. Nice to be back in the political matrix news.
It is. And just to let everybody know, if they're looking at different logos on the screen, we also have the Palafox Media Network, which is our parent network now of the Political Matrix News. So we're just going to go ahead and clear that up. And you'll see some other podcasts here flowering around the channel here, but we are expanding that way. But it looks like our 30 years of experience and consulting together and also separately, is bringing up today the election that happened yesterday, the primaries that happened where the woke, and yes, even some of the MAGA people on the extreme side, but basically extremism was voted down and the primaries across the country. And I think everybody's realizing it's about time to get back to work here in normalcy. What do you think?
Well, I don't know if it was a rebuke of extremism because the guy that won the
Well, that's
Democrat primary is someone who has advocated for, I think his exact words were something to the effect of that our southern border should be our welcoming front porch.
well, it should be as long as they all come in legally.
Nah, that's not what he's saying. That
Exactly.
is not what he's saying.
Well, he's wanting to do something that violates the Constitution and the law. So,
And he is fully on board with the entire array of woke things. He tries to add a little bit of Christian flair to it, but
yeah, what's
no,
his name? Taruki?
no, it's oh my god, I can't. It's I can't believe I can't say his name. It's mm, don't remember.
Exactly. But he did beat Jasmine Crockett, who we all know.
He
Who's
beat the
the,
stew out of.
yeah, who's a caricature of the Democrat Party in Texas and everything else. He defeated her. And I think the other guy who likes to get arrested a lot or censored a lot
Al
in the State of
Green.
the
Al
Union is Al
Green.
Green, the other
Yeah.
Democrat from Texas. He also lost in his primary. So I think, you
Well, I don't
know,
know. I'm having conflicting stories about that. Some of them are saying that that he's in a runoff. Some of them are saying he's losing. So it's really going to be. I'm sure they'll
who
settle
knows?
that within a couple of days.
Yeah, I know the Democrats are going to cheat against each other. They only cheat against Republicans.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
exactly. Jasmine Crockett was saying, I mean, unequivocally, it was the Republicans who meddled in the Democratic primary, probably because they're just so scared of the truth she brings. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's frustrating, but I mean, the whole here is that, I mean, we've seen these ebbs and flows and all the different campaigns throughout the years. And I think that, I think, in my opinion, the people that we talk to on the street and people that we're seeing in the polls is that I think people are ready for government to get back to start working for people and quit playing these hijinks games. You and I have been saying that for the last several podcasts. It's about time to start feeling, regardless of what party you're in, it's about time to put America first. And it's not a Trumpian MAGA slogan. It's a way we're supposed to be. I mean, this is the 250th anniversary of America. And anybody who wants to put America second, leave. Love it or leave it, baby. Come on.
Get out. I mean, the bottom line is, they were making a lot of hay about early Democrat heavy voting in the early Democrats. God damn, I can't even speak right now. The high concentration of Democrats in the early voting. But I mean, the people that are saying this don't even recognize the fact that Democrats love to early vote, Republicans love to vote election day. I
Exactly.
mean, it's just that simple. So, and at the end of the day, in the entire state of Texas, and Lord knows how many millions of vote they cast, but the Democrats beat the Republicans by 30,000 votes, which is basically a statistical dead heat.
Yeah, not very many in a very big state of Texas, which I think is what the second largest populous state in the nation.
Well, what the geniuses in the media fail to realize is that the place that Trump is doing very well, certainly better than Democrats are, is with the independents. The
Right.
State of the Union, he beat the snot. I mean, the independents were very much on Trump's side during the State of the Union, and when that's the narrative, I mean, do you support America? Do you think Americans should come first and stuff like that? Well,
Duh.
I hate to tell you, hate to tell the Democrats this, but the independents fall firmly in the we should look out for America first.
Right.
You know, and all the Democrat leadership believe that too. I mean, there's been reels and reels and reels of these guys, saying all of the same things that the Republicans are saying right
Right.
now.
Yeah.
But when they were saying it, their party was in the White House, and they wanted to look like statesmen. Now they want to look like hacks. Or I guess they want. I don't
Exactly.
know if they want to or not, but that's how
They
they're
are.
looking.
I mean, the whole point is that, I mean, we talked about this before. The position where, the Republicans are now is the same position where the Democrats were before. And basically, it's just, the fact of the matter is that unless they get credit for it, they're not for it. And that's the entire narcissism of the political structure here. And I mean, people have got to start worrying about their credit and their kickbacks and everything else, which I know is much easier said than done for these politicians who do insider trading and everything else. But they got to start worrying about creating policies that put us first, period. I mean, we are funding so many. I mean, people keep on talking about all the things we're funding overseas. Yeah, we are. We're also funding a lot of stuff domestically as well that is not helping anybody at all, period. I mean, there are so many bridges to nowhere and so many other pet projects and side projects and brother in law projects and cousins projects and so on and so forth. The litany of lists is long. And it's
Yeah,
about time we start, cut
yeah,
that
but
out.
I wish that was the problem. I wish those things you're talking about right there, were the limit of the problem. The
Exactly, it's
real
not.
problem is all the nonprofits out there that get government grants that wind up having legislators of some stripe, ultimately benefiting from them.
Right, and that's the thing is that all the NGOs, I mean, and granted, there's a lot of legitimate ones, and so we're not gonna just blanket
There
all
are.
of them as being bad, but there's a lot of them who are just basically raking in millions and billions of dollars for basically bridges to nowhere theoretically. I mean, they're creating solutions that don't have solutions. They're creating problems that aren't there. I mean, they just they're a friend of somebody and they get a grant and they get the money and they're not doing a damn thing with it. They have no employees, they have no staff. I mean, it's nothing but graphs, and it's sad. And that's where the money is being wasted. Period.
There it would be hard to calculate. Maybe we'll wind up with an AI that's smart enough to calculate the level
No,
of fraud. I mean,
they won't
but
believe it.
it is going to be quite the trick. I mean, you think about this. There are, I mean, just the fraud that's over in Minnesota. All right,
In one state.
in one state, $30 billion. If you extrapolate that into the rest of the country, it's in the trillions.
Now, what population you're telling me is Minnesota of America?
They have
Like 5%?
1.7%.
Oh, 1.7% of the population.
Mhm.
And the scandal that they're involved in with all the different billions of dollars.
You do the math and start extrapolating it. And let's say that they're an outlier and it's not $30 billion. Let's say it's only $5 billion. All right, that's still in the hundreds of billions, if not pretty close to trillions.
It is.
And I would love to say that all of our great red states are immune to it, but they're not.
They're not.
Because there are lawmakers. Lawmakers are very good at constructing these frauds in ways that they're very hard to detect. You want to see the NGOs dry up. Make it a federal crime for NGOs to pay sitting legislators for anything.
Yeah, or any legislature who served within like the last 10 years. I mean, put like a 10-year window on them to where
Hmm.
after they retire or resign, that they can't work with any NGO or lobbying with them at all for 10 years. I mean, that would dry up a lot of the influential contacts and everything else. But it's not going to
It'd drop
happen.
a lot of them if they held them for 5 years. You could actually make a compelling argument for 5 years, a very
You could.
as far as not denying people's rights while still
Right.
protecting the people's interests.
Exactly. But, I mean, the way it's running right now, I mean, it's a continuous circle. And like I said, it is both parties. It's red states and blue states. It's a cronyism driven system. And, basically they're in my opinion, they're committing financial genocide on the American people because they are raking us through the coals. They are, I mean, we wouldn't have these issues here with government shutdowns. We wouldn't have these issues with where are we going to have enough money here for, food stamps or Medicaid or this or that or whatever to help people out. And we wouldn't have issues on, well, it's too much money to fund a war that we need to have on terror. if all this waste and all this theft and all this graft and everything else were not occurring. Because, like you said, just Minnesota alone is just 1.5% of the nation of population. The theft that they have is huge, and you take that and you multiply that, by larger states, and possibly they might have the same type, and you're talking about trillions of dollars easily.
Hmm. The one that that really gets me was Stacey Abrams. What I mean, on her way out, she lost her race to become, was it governor or
Right?
senator?
Yeah,
It was,
governor.
yeah, it was a statewide race. I know that. And I'm trying to look up what her little grant was. Wasn't it like, I know it was at least 1 billion, but I think it might have been $7 billion.
Oh wow, I thought it was around 2.5 billion, but either
No,
way,
no, there it is. You're right. It's 2 billion. It's two
yeah,
billion.
it's pretty big.
Well, that's 2,000 million. Okay, for people that don't really appreciate what a billion is, it's hard to wrap your entire brain about around a million. But a billion, just woo, whatever. It's 2,000 millions. All right, and that was in Georgia.
Right.
That's not in some deep blue state. That's in Georgia. So say it can't happen. Yes, it can happen because you got a whole pork barrel buffet flowing out of Washington D.C.
Yeah, and
And
they don't care
this is
who
a
it is.
great example of that. There's no justification
No,
for awarding her NGO $2 billion. It's just
right.
ridiculous.
Yeah, and so, I mean, whenever people, I mean, when they look at the primaries that are happening here now and the primaries that are coming up, I think we're going to be seeing a huge correction here on the people just getting rid of all the, basically all the gamesmanship, and get back to work. And we see that a lot. And that's what I think we're going to continue seeing. I know Florida, our primary is in August, and we have a lot of interesting people here running from the entire gamut here on the Democrat and Republican side for governor and U.S. Senate and other congressional seats. I mean, it's a very interesting, unique play of people. I mean, we have right wingers and moderates on the Republican side, and you have very far left wingers and moderates on the Democrat side, and I happen to think it's going to be the people who probably get away from the social issues and quit talking about those and more talk about the kitchen table issues that are gonna be the ones who are driving the votes the most, because that's what people want. They want leadership. It's not virtual signaling, but they want virtuous people in charge. They want somebody who puts, their families first and not trying to get the next soundbite or just,
Well,
the next rip on somebody.
I don't know the virtue is really going to be very much of an
I don't
operation at
think so.
all, or
You're right. Actually, I agree.
because they don't care about how well you're living your life. They want to understand that you're going to allow them to live their life. And
Exactly.
that's the important thing. And when they talk about, the entire Democrat narrative for the last 6 or 7 years has been, suppressing someone's rights. And then, you can never get them to explain how are we suppressing these rights? How are we suppressing voter rights and stuff like that? We're suppressing voter rights because the Republicans want to make it hard for black people to vote. You show me that black guy or woman that doesn't have an ID. All right. They're hard to find. But as we keep saying, you show me someone without the credentials to vote, I'll show you someone who doesn't care to vote.
Right. I mean, we discussed it before. We get a lot of comments on our YouTube channel here that, people will realize that you have to have an ID to almost do everything in life. I mean, to get your disability, to get, your driver's license, to get, to rent an apartment, to do anything really, to buy, any kind of cigarettes or alcohol, or even just, get a bank account. You had to have an ID. And so basically, I mean, the reality here is that the people who are going to be voting already have IDs, and they just need to remember to take it with them to the polls.
Yeah.
Showing up like, "Oh, I don't have an ID," and yeah, yeah, you do. You're
Yeah.
lying.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, you got one.
Yeah, there are so many times that you just gotta ad hoc have an ID. That's why people always have them with them. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
actually, in
not
the
like
state of Florida, it's illegal to drive without an ID on you.
Well, that's because it's illegal to drive without a license.
Well, I mean, but if you leave it at home and then you get pulled over, you'll get a ticket.
You sure will, because you're supposed to have it when you're operating the vehicle you're licensed to operate. That's true of most licenses, not just
Yeah.
like the concealed carry permits and stuff like that. You know, if you're carrying a gun, you better have the permit with you.
Yeah.
Well, you used to be. Now you don't even need a permit in Florida. But
And so the
but
same way for voting. If you're going to go vote, take your ID with you.
indeed,
And if you
indeed.
don't have an ID, then maybe you're not a legal voter.
Well, it's hard
Maybe.
to, I think, as we've said numerous times, if you're opposed to proving who you are in order to vote, then you're one of the people that want to commit fraud. You're probably committing fraud at the moment. If you're reluctant to prove who you are, I'm eager to prove who I am so that no one else can take my vote, because they're only going to only issue one. If more than one person tries to vote with my ID, then they're gonna cancel that vote, or they're gonna raise a red flag of some kind.
Imagine going to your bank teller and withdrawing some money and refusing to give them your ID. What are they
I
going to
mean,
do?
that's why I said it's just the most ridiculous thing.
Come on, guys, get over it.
Yeah.
But I think we were talking. I was on a show with Mike Bates a couple days ago. And we are talking about the congressional briefing of the Iranian attack, and how come everybody keeps saying it's a legal war because Congress wasn't told first. I'm like, guys, if Congress knew anything about this, I mean, go ahead and say what you were saying earlier.
Well, what the truth is that the Gang of Eight, all of the leadership, the House minority, the House majority, the whips, the speakers, and then the corresponding positions in the Senate, they were all informed, and we know they were all informed because the day after they were informed, Ilhan Omar was tweeting, well, America loves to attack Muslim countries on Ramadan,
Which was
which
the day
was
we did it.
that day.
Yeah.
She's literally telling, or trying to tell people in Iran, be on the lookout, America's coming after you. Who in the Gang of Eight would have bothered to tell her that? I don't know. Hakeem Jeffries, maybe? There's a whole list of people that it could have been.
Right.
They would happily leak that to her and then just let her go to town, because she's going to be gone anyway. So they don't care if she gets in trouble, whatever.
I mean, and that's the whole point, guys. I mean, in this day and age, confidentiality of military secrets needs to be confidential. I mean, granted, yeah, Congress should know about something, but Congress should also be able to keep their mouth shut, and they have no ability to do that. And if Congress would actually, yeah, like we said in previous shows, if they're actually doing their jobs, Trump wouldn't have to be doing 80% of what he's doing. If they'd be enforcing tariffs and worrying about trade deficits and worrying about the border and worrying about, the safety of different cities and different counties and different states around the country with regards to illegal aliens or with regards to drug trafficking or with regards to human trafficking, if they actually did their job as a people's house to take care of the people, Trump would have had to be doing 90% of what he's doing, but he's doing it because they're not doing their job.
Well, they're talking about this being an unjustified war. It's not that it's unjustified. It's that we've let the things that do justify it go on for so long. People just think it's normal.
Yeah, it's
I
not.
mean, I could have stood up any time in the last 40 years and said we should attack Iran, and there would have been more than adequate evidence of numerous acts of war between Hezbollah, funding Hezbollah, who seem to recall those guys blowing up a few Marines over in Lebanon, and then it was the American embassy, I think, in Nigeria or something like
Mhm.
that. I mean, the list is
Libya
long
and
as your arm of things that they finance and paid for people to do. Those things that they're doing are acts of war, and why we tolerated them for so long. Was there an imminent danger they're going to do it again? There wasn't an imminent danger on the day that those events happened. It
yeah.
just boom out of nowhere. That's who they are, and you can't just say that. Well, it's normal for these countries to say they hate us and do this. Yeah, it may be normal for them to say they hate us. It's not normal for them to do things about it.
Yeah, well, reality here, if it is normal for them to hate us, it's also normal for us to defend ourselves. it's also normal for us to go ahead and protect America, which
Well,
goes
we don't have to.
once again to America first.
Yeah, we don't have to defend ourselves against hate. We got to defend ourselves against violence, and that's
Exactly.
what we've been tolerating for far too long.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not just hate speech they're giving us. They're giving us hate actions. They're giving us. They're killing people. They're financing the killing. They're financing the murdering. They're financing the human trafficking and the fentanyl. And the entire connection here, the collaboration between Venezuela and Iran and China, North Korea and Russia is extremely evident. It's extremely brazenly out there in public. And the whole fact that people just want to keep running away from it, not realizing that these are all connected to a degree. And believe me, I mean, like I said before, this is just the next domino to fall. I happen to think it'd be great for North Korea to fall. That everybody thinks that, that's crazy and that's silly talk. And that would never happen because it would hurt South Korea. But who knows? Who
How on
really
earth would
knows?
how on earth would North Korea falling hurt South Korea? That's
Yeah, well,
ridiculous.
they're saying that North Korea will like obliterate South Korea and start shooting out their missiles and mortars. And I was like, I think South Korea actually has a military, and actually we have an American base there. So I do not think that that's going to happen in the same Pollyanna stupidic way that everybody's thinking that. First of all, North Korea doesn't have an ability to even do any kind of military action, and their people as well. The citizens of North Korea want to overthrow that country the same way the citizens of Iran wants to take over that nation and the people in Venezuela. I mean, there's a lot of similarities here. We have very weak totalitarian dictatorships who are running these countries and who also coincidentally have access or funding to nukes. And that seems to be the direction that we're going, is eliminating that entire
Yeah,
process there.
Kim Jong Un just put his 14-year-old daughter in charge of the missile brigades.
Okay, well, now we have a crazy person.
Well, we've always had a crazy person. What are you
Well,
talking
yeah,
about?
but he's beyond crazier now. And so that's so bizarre, putting a 14-year-old daughter in charge of that. I mean, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But the whole point here is that, I mean, why can't they be? I mean, Trump is on a pretty good kick right now of setting a lot of nations free. I mean, just before this Iranian issue, he's already part of several peace treaties just last year, of like 8 or 9 of them, before the Israeli and the Gaza thing. And I mean, yeah,
That's
does it look like he's brazen? Like, does it look authoritarian? Sure, it might look like whatever the hell you want it to look like. It looks like a guy who's actually just taking charge because nobody else in our freaking government's doing a damn thing. Now, if they
well,
want to
this
help,
the standard political answer to these wars is to go in there and basically wag their finger at people and say you shouldn't be doing that. Trump's method is to say, look, you guys either stop this crap or we're going to deprive you of whatever economic resources you got. On the other hand, if you cooperate with us, we're going to make you and your people so wealthy that that you won't have places to put all the money.
exactly.
And that's the fundamental difference between politicians and Trump. Trump gives these people, the old song, freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Well, Trump gives them plenty to lose. You're going to you're going to have all this opportunity. Your people are going to be happy. Your people are going to love you, and you're going to be living in comfort in your own country. Isn't that better than just sitting here, with these petty squabbles?
Right.
That's the Trump
And
way.
the whole narrative of the left is that they accuse us and everybody of, oh, you're kissing Trump's butt and we're all MAGA. And no, it's not a MAGA thing. It's not a kissing Trump thing. It's reality here, guys. Okay. We have people here who want to murder people and kill babies and rape women and do horrible, horrific acts of people and then fund it being done to us. Okay. So we have that. Now we have us and we have a leader who wants to stop that. That is not a bad thing. Now, accepting it and, basically pacifying it and just, not really doing anything to eliminate it, that is a bad thing. I mean, we have got to stop evil. You don't just I mean, George W. Bush actually said it in his speech after 9/11 about the axis of evil, and everybody's gotten away from that so far because I guess it was just some sort of talking points that Karl Rove and the other speechwriters and everything put together. But I think they were right. The axis of evil is real, and they are trying to destroy the American way of life, and not just American way of life, but the entire Western way of life. And they want us all dead. They want you dead and everybody else watching this show dead that does not believe with what they're saying. And that's not good.
No, and they talk about these policies like the Obama Treaty and these things like that. This is a policy of appeasement. It is absolutely no different than Neville Chamberlain in 1938 signing the what was it called, the Munich Agreement. You know, allowing Hitler to keep Czechoslovakia or one of those Eastern European countries, just let him keep it, and then we'll just have peace. Well,
Right.
we didn't have peace. Once you start letting these people get away with this bad type of bad behavior, then it's only a matter of time before they do the next thing, because now they've established a pattern. It's fine. Just
Exactly.
in the exact same way that we got used to people paying other people to blow us up. Even the FBI will put your butt in jail if you pay someone to kill someone for you.
Exactly. I mean, and this is not, once again, I don't care who the president is. I wish Obama would have done this. I wish Biden would have done this. Wish Trump in the first, well, actually, he did with the caliphate until COVID screwed up the whole rest of his presidency. But, I mean, I wish he would have done this. I wish
I wish
HW would have
Clinton would
done
have
this. I
done
wish
it.
Clinton would have done it. Reagan should
Clinton
have
had a
done it.
Clinton had a great opportunity to do it.
Exactly. I mean, we have several presidents who could have and would have, but they didn't, and they failed, and basically these guys kept getting more money and more power and more money and more power and creating all these fake treaties. I mean, there's no treaty with terrorists. Come on, guys.
What are they? What are they? That's the most ridiculous concept I've ever heard. Why would you think that someone who is literally shouting "Death to America" is going to take seriously a paper written agreement? All that means is, oh, okay, we'll take your billions of dollars because they gave them billions of dollars, and
I
then
guess.
we'll just start spending it out the back door on people to blow you up, and they did.
It's like Tom Hanks said, there's no crying in baseball, and there's no treaty with terrorists. Like, this whole thing with Israel and Gaza, I have no idea how long that peace is going to last. The only reality for that peace to last is for the Palestinians to come under the thumb of the Israelis. I mean, that's just the only way really to do it. I mean, unfortunately, the Palestinian state has not been a peaceful state even whenever they went out into other countries, and
Well,
and they like to.
actually, between actually, they've kind of done most of the things that they really need to do in order to defang the
Right,
Palestinians. So, but between the Israeli war in oh God, I'm saying this the Israeli war in Iran, and then us completely blowing them up. Now they don't have any way to get money
right. There's no
to these
funding.
terrorists. Yeah, it's hard to continue your little terrorist operation when no one's writing you checks, bringing you intelligence and stuff like
Right.
that.
Yeah, because at the end of the
And
day,
honestly, my favorite part about the whole thing is the psychotic way that the Israelis or the Iranians are just bombing random other countries. And I understand why, because now they're saying ideologically they're saying, well, you're helping the Americans. And they think that if they cause enough chaos over here that the whole world's going to go, oh, now look, America stirred a
right.
hornet's and everyone's suffering. America has to stop. No.
No.
Now, what they've done is they've created a whole bunch of additional fronts to fight their war on. So we don't have to put boots on the ground. All the other militaries in the region are going to put boots on the ground.
Right. I mean, I heard somebody say a couple days ago that, this is really arrogant or it's very crazy for us to think that, or to question why Iran would start attacking American bases and other places to defend themselves. And I was like, okay, you can think that as much as you want, but here's a reality here of any kind of neighborhood fight or a basketball fight or any fight. Whenever you have Goliath over here, and this is not David and Goliath. This is not the Bible. Okay, this is reality here, and this is current day, and so this is not a miracle situation. But we have Goliath here, and we have a little tiny Tim with his crutch being broken, and basically America here is crushing Tiny Tim, and Tiny Tim's out there just pissing on America. I mean, and you think there's not going to be any repercussions. I mean, what are you thinking is going to happen? I mean, the whole concept here is surrender. Period.
In this case, Tiny Tim is a quadriplegic because the
Exactly.
difference between us, our military, and the Iranian military is staggering.
Huge.
We spend more on maintenance on our military, just for maintenance on our military, than the next two countries combined spend on their entire militaries.
Or their entire budgets. I mean, we
In
spend
some
more, we
cases,
we probably spend more on maintenance of our military than Iranians even fund to the
we
terrorists
got
over 10 years.
we spend more on our military than the Iranian economy.
Exactly. Quintupled, most likely.
Actually,
I mean,
you know what? That is me speculating and guessing.
yeah, go
Let's
ahead
find
and
out.
let's ask our AI. Just
Yeah,
pick an AI out there,
yeah.
and we're going to go ahead and check it out here. You can go ahead and check it out yourselves as well. But I mean, the
The
concept here is get over it. I mean, we're trying to keep America safe, and no, it's not authoritarian for Trump to attack people who are trying. And no, it was not imminent. It's been.
well, whether or not, yeah, I was going to say,
I mean, what's your definition of imminent? I guess your definition, like, what's the definition of is? I mean, the definition of reality here is that they're still funding terrorism. They're funding the economy of people who want to murder us and kill us every day, ongoingly.
yeah. So the only kind of war we're going to fight in this case is a stand-up war, which is the war we are by far, we outclass every other military on the planet in a stand-up face-to-face war. Not a one. So we United States military spending for 2024 was $997 billion. GDP for 24 was $436 billion. So their entire economy is half our military budget.
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah,
And that's
it's
the reason
not
why I
even
question
close.
why are they retaliating? I mean, okay, I get it. Somebody says, "Oh yeah, well, yeah, they have to defend themselves." I'm like, no, you don't. You do not have to defend yourselves. I mean, granted, if your whole goal is for everybody to go see virgins and commit suicide on a mass level, then sure, knock yourself out. But the reality here is that you do not have to. I mean, you can surrender. I mean, there are ways to end wars, and basically,
Well,
you end a war by signing a peace treaty and saying, "Please do not bomb me anymore. Please stop killing our people. We give up." I mean, come on, wake up.
you're talking about what's the smart thing to do.
I know. I mean, it's the most illogical thing of any. Wow. I mean, it's
Well, I mean, over the last 50 or more years, the recreation of virtually all of the leftist governments in the world, and I include most of the governments of Europe when I say that, has been bashing the United States. And for these guys to believe that they were going to, these other countries were going to come in with them and bash the United States, just because they bash the United States, they were going to have any way whatsoever to stop the United States from doing this is just ridiculous.
but who is defending them? Once again, the white liberals who are defending the illegal immigrants who are not actually at the protests, and the same people who are defending actually they like to defend people who don't want to be defended or don't want to defend
Usually,
themselves. I mean, it's just
well, it is white liberals who came up with the concept that black people aren't smart enough to get IDs to vote.
exactly, and uh, it's just so frustrating.
Yeah, well, it's the world we live in.
It is, and as the days go on, as the days of our lives, and as the world turns. I mean, it's a variety of different soap operas here, and that's what we're living in right now. But it looks like the Supreme Court today came up with some normalcy here about deportation and immigration laws. They're
Yeah, that
actually
was
going to
pretty
let
cool.
the immigration courts handle immigration.
Crazy talk. Well, here's how obvious this is. Here's how bad of a Democrat talking point it was. We always should have to be able to go to the courts and let the regular courts decide. We don't pay attention to the court that was statutorily created and given jurisdiction over this. We're just going to go to the general purpose
Magistrate.
regular courts to do it. And here's how far off they were. Who do you think wrote the majority? It wasn't a majority. Who wrote the opinion?
I don't know.
Ketanji Brown. That's how far off they were. Ketanji Brown got it right, and she's normally an activist on these topics. And look, I'm not judging her because she's black. I'm not judging her because she's a woman. I'm not judging her because
Anything.
of anything other than the fact that she says remarkably dumb things all the time.
But she got this one right.
But she got this one right.
I
God bless
mean,
her.
and so let everybody know exactly what happened for those who are not aware of the Supreme Court case.
So in the Supreme Court, there was a question as to whether or not the courts have to defer the circuit courts and well, at least at the circuit court level. We have to get a little more fine reading of the decision. But at least the circuit courts have to defer to the immigration courts because, again, they are the ones with the original jurisdiction through statute. They're the ones designated to make these decisions. And in order to overrule them, they have to provide compelling evidence that they were wrong, not just a preponderance or something like that. It needs to be compelling. It's a very high bar that they have to reach in order to overturn one of these immigration courts, which is how it should be, because it's not complex questions in law.
Right.
It's, do you have the documents to be here or don't you? Is there a mitigating factor? Yeah, it doesn't look like it to me. See you later.
Right. Or welcome.
It's that simple.
But I guess people thought that was controversial.
Well, all the activists do. The only people who throw fits about these obvious things have their hand out for some sort of corruption. Whether it's the voting, whether it's immigration, whatever. These people are getting paid somehow, and they got to keep saying the dumb things that they're saying in order to keep getting paid.
Right. And this goes back to our one of our talking points here, fundraising. That's what they keep pushing is a fundraising.
Well, I mean, the mildly honest ones are doing fundraising. The other ones are doing just until
We
we get
don't even know.
convictions. I hate to point to a specific one, but there are some people who were worth nothing one year, and then a year later they're worth plenty. They're definitely worth looking into. I was reminded today how the Clintons told everyone as they left office that they were in debt, that being president cost them money, and now they got a foundation worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yes, they do. But
Ilhan
how is that
Omar's
possible?
Ilhan Omar's worth 15 grand, and now all of a sudden she's worth 30 million. Dang. AOC, and I'm going to say once again that I honestly believe that AOC got her money through legal but unethical means. I mean,
No.
and I don't mean like violating ethics rules or stuff like that. I think just a generalized personal ethos, and I think it's corrupt in that sense, because all she did was pull her little fundraising levers, which require her to lie to people, and that's the unethical part.
Right. And also, real quick on a low Florida note here, some congressional people in trouble. We got Sheila McCormick down there in Broward County, who's, I guess, being indicted on some possible charges here of fraud. Actually, we're actually running a poll right now on that race in Senate and Congressional District 20. So we'll let you guys know in the next episode how the poll's coming and everything. I
Mm-hmm.
guess a new guy jumped in the race. Who's not really new to anybody out there, but Luther Campbell,
Mm.
Uncle Luke from Two Live Crew, he jumped in the race for Congress. And so that
Well, that
is
ought to
going to
be
be
entertaining.
really, really interesting. I mean, Me So Horny and all the wonderful songs that he came up with and everything else. I mean, it's going to be an interesting race. You got him and Elijah Manley and Sheila and a few other people on the Democrat side, Rod and I think Rod Joseph and a few other people here on the Republican side. And I think the biggest question, though, in the Florida politics is that they're going to be redistricting or redrawing the lines here. So we don't really know if that district is going to stay Democrat or is it going to become Republican or is it going to be more purple or how's it going to be? Because I think right now in Tallahassee, there's 14 different maps. And so It's gonna be really interesting. I think, Orlando area is gonna be redrawn a little bit. I know where I live at is gonna be redrawn. I think you're in the safe area. You're up there in the Panhandle where it's all gonna be pretty
Yeah,
much
yeah.
not gonna be much different.
No, I mean, there's a little bit of adjustment that they can make on the eastern border, but that's not much. I mean, they could probably slant one of the things over, but I
Right.
mean, to what good? Because the demographics are the same.
Yeah, no, because I mean, one thing is that, being consultants like we are, we're looking at a lot and we're talking to a lot of different races around the country. And a lot of different areas here, they're redrawing their maps and redrawing their districts. And so whenever we talk to them about polling, they're like, we don't really know exactly what district we're going to be living in right now. So we don't really know exactly who to poll. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, the whole idea here is that, just, basically your district might change probably 5 or 10%,
Hmm.
but, 90% of it's still going to be the same. So, just pick the 90 in the middle. And so I don't really, I mean, the weird part is that with all the states who are redistricting, like in California and Florida, and a lot of states are redistricting. I think Georgia might be redistricting as well. Alabama, I know, has an interesting race coming up with Doug Jones is running for governor again, Alabama, and against Tommy Tuberville. And so,
Yeah, yeah.
but I know the whole Republican primary is kind of wide open over there. I think though Tuberville has the hands-on favorite being the Trump endorsee and everything. But
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be really hard to beat, honestly, because he's well regarded in Alabama. He's,
yeah, Auburn football coach, yeah,
yeah, exactly. He's. There are a few people in Alabama, certainly a few voters that don't know his name.
exactly. And he is a current U.S. senator as well, so he has that bullet pulpit right there with him.
He's demonstrated he can win a statewide election.
Exactly, which is a very big step forward. Although it's not a guarantee because we've had people here in Florida like Charlie Crist. I mean, he won statewide elections and he got defeated by Ron DeSantis, and we've had other statewide elected officials here who lost in other elections here. So I mean, there is and yesterday we saw a lot of incumbents losing the primary, which is weird, and throughout the nation, which usually incumbents win 98% of the time for a general election, and for a primary, they usually win probably 99% of the time. But I think what we saw yesterday and what we're seeing now with all the redistricting is that incumbents are not protected anymore. There is a possibility to be an incumbent, and that's the reason why we've had Aaron Baker on our show. He's running against Randy Fine over here in the Florida Sixth District, and we have a lot of other races that we've seen where the challengers actually have very very good compelling arguments against the incumbents, and it's not a safe bet anymore this year, I don't
Well,
think.
maybe the reason that they're losing is because we've taken away their ability to manipulate the election.
I think that's one area, but I think the whole powerful medium of podcasts and more openness, a lot more media. I also think the entire social media network has really opened up a lot of the. It started out like 5 or 10 years ago as being a very influential part, but I think now it's surpassed anything it was before, and people are really living their news off of whether it be good, bad, or indifferent, all social
Hmm.
media, whether TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I mean, they're getting all their information through that, and I think that's really driving a lot of people. And so I think the traditional ways of media and traditional ways of advertising are going out the window.
Well, they have proclaimed that death for a while, but we'll have to see if it's
That's true. You
finally
still
here.
need it. Yeah, you still need to have it. So I don't think it's completely dead. I mean, it still needs to be collaborated together. I mean, it's a tethering ball. It's a tethering match, and
Yes.
there is no, like we tell everybody in campaigns, there is no silver bullet in campaigns. There's just a collaboration of the entire chamber of bullets to make it work. But yeah, well, that's about all I got for
Anyway,
today.
that's all I got, man.